Hi, today I want to talk to you about the phases of stress and burnout and what we can do about it. So you might have heard me talk about some of this before, but in particular I wanted to focus on what you can do at each stage. So today we're going to cover the first few stages of stress, and in a separate video we'll talk about burnout. Now surprisingly, the first stage of burnout is called the honeymoon. This is a period where we're very happy, we are full of vitality, we're new to the situation, so it's normally a new job. And we're really excited, and we might be waking up in the middle of the night with this brilliant idea to do with work. We might be working longer hours than we would ideally like to. We are putting boundaries down in places that aren't really sustainable for the long term, but we're trying to prove ourselves, we're trying to prove that, we're the right person for the job, that we can do the job that we've just landed. So this could be a promotion, for example. You're really trying to prove that you were worthy of the promotion that you've been given. So there's a level of excitement around this, but there's also this kind of setting of boundaries in places that aren't sustainable. And so in all likelihood, you're not going to want to do anything about any of this at this point because you think it's all great. But if you, from listening to me talk about it, are able to step back and kind of have some awareness around it, you might like to think about what's sustainable for the long term. What do I actually want my long-term work-life balance to look like? So you might want to be asking yourself some of those questions. Now, at some point, stress is going to be showing up. So if we're over-investing and so on, as I've just described, over a longer term, then stress is going to start showing up. We really care about this job, and it moves from being exciting and exhilarating into being a bit more draining and frustrating. So what you can be doing about the stress when it begins to show up at this stage. So the tips I've given you in the Instant Calm document that you've already got, those are fantastic to use in the moment. So they can be used, you can practice some of that breath work or the humming in the midst of the situation that you're in. So you pick whichever one is going to work. Obviously, if this is in person, you're probably not going to start humming. If it's possible for you to put yourself on mute whilst you're on a video call, humming might be an option. So yeah, pick and choose. That's for in the moment. Now, what we want to be doing is processing our stress hormones. So the body is triggering a sequence of events happening biochemically in the body. So we're producing particular hormones, our glucose levels are being affected. So there's a whole shift in our blood chemistry when we are stressed. So we want to undo that on a frequent basis. And I'd recommend you listening to my podcast, episode number 2, which is about effective ways of processing stress. Most of these are around exercise, but there's also breath work, and you can do things like creative activities. Those will help. Now, over the short term, stress is very manageable and doesn't have a particularly bad impact on the body. In fact, short-term stress can have a positive impact on the immune system and on your ability to concentrate. But long-term stress is the problem. So if you are experiencing stress over a longer period of time, we're now talking about chronic stress and chronic exposure to cortisol, which is one of the key stress hormones. Now, what can you do? Well, first of all, what does this look like? So you might be freaking out over small stuff. You may feel that you want to withdraw from social situations. You might notice behaviors in yourself, like repetitive behaviors or picking at things, nail biting, fiddling with stuff. Those sorts of behaviors will come up when you're experiencing chronic stress and that kind of anxious feeling. And you may also experience physical symptoms. So you might feel a bit out of whack, a bit physically exhausted. You may notice that it's longer for you to recover from exercise, or also from illness, that it takes you longer than others to be able to recover, or that it used to take you. You might feel that you're more prone to illnesses. You may also experience aches and pains in the body, so it might be showing up as shoulder and neck aches. A lot of people report headaches and backaches when they're experiencing chronic stress. So next, what can you do about it? So I'll point you back to the PDF that I've just given you, the Instant Calm tips. Also to the podcast that I mentioned. I'll make sure you get the link to that for those ways to process stress. But it's also about awareness. So can you notice yourself as you're experiencing stress? Are you aware of what's causing the stress? and are you aware of how you're responding to it? And are you developing any unhealthy ways? So go to those resources that I've just mentioned for healthy ways to deal with stress, but are you aware of any unhealthy ways that you may be trying to deal with the stress? So these might look like ways to numb the stress feelings, so alcohol, drugs, sleeping pills, etc. You might be taking risks, or it may, like driving fast. Self-harm is also associated with chronic stress. Controlling behaviors, so that might be around your diet. You might be under eating and really controlling what you eat, or there might be obsessive behaviors showing up. And then of course distraction. We love to distract ourselves with obsession with TV series, video games, excessive shopping, maybe it's excessive eating, it's the tub of ice cream, etc. Avoidance. So you might be trying to, again, distract yourself, and often by working more, overworking, having a frenzied social life. These are some of the ways in which that chronic stress can start showing up. So I think awareness is really important of, for you to become aware of what's going on, and then you can make the best decisions about how to deal with your stress levels. You may feel that now is a good time to work with somebody. So whether that be for psychotherapy, or you may want to take up meditation, breath work, etc. My program, which is called Reboot from Burnout, is aimed at people who are at that cusp of chronic stress and into burnout. So that you may want to be thinking about beyond just what you can do for yourself, but how you can be working with somebody to deal with the stress at this point.